money them a cheat. And them a sell out the beach. Can't for me again. You can't for me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy candle, we can't buy time. You can't for me again. Can't for me again. You can't for me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch a line and a resort to crime. You can't for me again. Promise to pick up all the charities and all of the givers. Some of like say they're powerful, we know we got bigger. The urgent the promises do not them not deliver. Cut up the youth and rough and it's going in our river. Them a bull money and they lie them. Corruption smell and they pocket them smell. When police do a market like Satan out of hell go mash up people start and thief when them fell. It on me. What they treat the market man. It on me. What them a treat the cat man. It on me. What they treat the peanut man. It on me. What them a treat the dirt man. It on me. What them a treat the son man. It on me. What them a treat policeman. It on me. All them a treat soldier.
Boom! I mean, I say a couple to the flex they represent for Wayne Global TV. So I say, you know the code in the Wayne Global TV is what fully blessed on the 90 days. So I say, yeah man, to the fullest. Yeah man, make sure them log in to Wayne Global TV. So I say, check it out. So I say, one cup of flex. So I say, Wayne Global. When you watch you know, film a plan up and not try if you put them money pan we head. But man, I live too long, them want Wayne Global fitted. To him juggle so smooth that them want him life for dread. I through the bank, I like the break, but we ain't all about the bread. Open up in the ears and no listen when we said, cause we lyrics them so smooth like the linen on the bed. Them one with a fall, travel living pan the edge, I must say true, we make this them. We ain't Global TV, we are 90, and 90. Who Jaja bless, say no man can curse. Give it the Range Rover, who no drive yours. Boom! We ain't Global TV to the fullest one cup of excellence, see me?
This is Global TV election campaign coverage. This is Global TV election campaign coverage. This is Global TV election campaign coverage.
Good night and welcome to Global Television. Tonight, the People's National Party manifesto is out, but is there copy taking going on? Is somebody looking in somebody's books tonight? Is someone waiting for you to finish writing your notes before they answer the question? Good evening. Good evening and welcome to everyone. Welcome to everyone on the X, on Twitch, on Facebook, on YouTube. Good evening and welcome to another of our program 2024 Jamaica Decide. The police and election workers and army personnel have voted today. It would be interesting to see what direction they swing in and what direction will the rest of public sector workers take it this election period. But before we dive into the PMP manifesto tonight, let me do my usuals. Good evening to everyone on the live. Good evening to everyone in the chat. Good evening and welcome. Thank you all for joining us. Good evening and welcome. Right. Good evening, veteran Wagwan. Big up. Good evening, Prof. Gorgeous Lady. Sunshine. Good evening, Natalia Freeman. Good evening, Amazing Grace. Debbie Jervis. Good evening and welcome. Michelle Lewis Wilson Scott Gift. Good evening and welcome, Amazing Grace. Good evening and welcome. Sunshine. Good evening and welcome. Patricia Matthews. Good evening and welcome. Good evening and welcome to everyone. Carlene Jones, good evening and welcome. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Audrey Robinson, good evening and welcome. Angela 48349, good evening and welcome. Thank you all for joining us. Paula Shelley, Good evening and welcome. Good evening. Thank you all for joining us. Who do I start with? Who do I really start with? Let me say to you, Doctor, what's it? There's enough Mama Latte around. The PMP has theirs. There's no reason for Dr. Campbell to be in a Mama Lashes competition with Everald Warmington. These sort of politics should be extinct. We want proper debate. We want policy conversation. That is what we would rather, Dr. Campbell.
Hold on. After me the lift one and all the young top, who know how far from the center.
Enough of that. Enough of that. But do you remember this?
Where river wind wash away, hovering in air. Anywhere that is a garbage dump, hovering in air. And it's not Labour Party put them there. Anywhere where river wind wash away, hovering in air. Anywhere that is a garbage dump, hovering in air. And it's not Labour Party put them there. Anywhere where river wind wash away, hovering in air. Anywhere that is a garbage dump, hovering in air. And it's not Labour Party put them there.
The Speaker of the House, the wife of the Prime Minister, the First Lady, and a lot of other things that she may be and might be. Pauline Dixon, good evening and welcome. But yesterday, the British Parliament descended into chaos yesterday because of something that the Speaker of the House did. Juliet Holness, counterpart in Britain, did something in Parliament yesterday, which Parliament went into chaos, and two opposing parties on the either side of politics teamed up together and walked out of Parliament in disgust yesterday by the action of the Speaker. Yesterday was what was called in the British Parliament the opposition debate, and it was the Scottish National Party was tabling a vote in Parliament and an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. It is said by the media circle, from the information from their sources, that the Labour Party, which the Speaker, when a Speaker is selected in Britain, it's quite different from how it is done in Jamaica. When you're elected as a Speaker, you're normally selected from your party. But what is required of you is to step down from your MP position. A by-election is done to fill your seat, and then you run the House of the position of the Speaker in a nuanced position, albeit having your political allegiance, and is chosen by your political party to be the Speaker, but it's a neutral constitutional position. It is said that the Labour Party threatened him that if you don't take an amendment from us to do with what the Scottish National Party is tabling and the Gaza ceasefire, you will not become Speaker if we win, because I think we're going to general election this year in the UK as well. You will not be Speaker the next term. So if that is the case, he played up to that and accepted an amendment from the Labour Party, which is his political party affiliation. And that didn't went well throughout the whole of Parliament. It really didn't went well. And it caused the Conservatives and the Scottish National Party, who are at the wider end of things, to team up and walk out of Parliament. That is showing you parliamentarians in Jamaica. Mystic Vibes, good evening and welcome. Sharon Powell, good evening and welcome. That when our constitution or legislative process and all of that is violated, you don't have to sit down in Parliament with the Prime Minister. You literally do not have to sit in Parliament with the Prime Minister and carry out all of these. 1 second. You really don't have to do that. But the issue is in our politics. I'm just monitoring something. The issue is in our politics. Nobody really cares. I want you to listen to something that Mr. Morris said. Mr. Morris is the young man who, after Moko division, who jumped ship after he claimed how he was cheated by Nesta Morgan. Take a listen.
You know, I'm there this morning. He come to me. You know, I said I have to make a video. You know, let's say, be a big next to come in the division now. Whole heap of them. From security minister to energy minister, solid waste. Whole heap of people are coming here. Prime Minister come at 2 or 3 times. You understand? Your council election, Moko division. You understand? When state people then stand up with me. That's the one thing I have make the message. I have big up the people. I respect them for this. To stand up with me. I love it. You understand? Yeah, what I come at me. Yeah, I say yes. The people them stand up with me and them me don't know. You understand? But my thing is, where were they when the problem starts? Where were they when Morgan make it trouble? Where were they when put up a farmers meeting to benefit over 500 farmers? And what them do? They never do nothing. Morgan can't steal farmers not getting the benefit. Fertilizer come and everything come. What them do? What did they do? They never turn up. Where were they when I try to get Moko water? And I put up a bantal in the lease land for 30 years. People them say, yes, I like the idea, lease land from him. And the man Blackie. Where were they when I put on steel program and the man Blackie? Where were they when we say we are trying to make Moko community college and the man Blackie? Where were they? You understand? But when it's the people them stand up with Romeo now, them come up with one bag of things. You understand? But people are going to show them. You understand? Yes, man, that's one thing. It's one thing I'm pro about Moko with. The people must stand up and show them. You understand? So where were they? Why? You understand? Yes, man. Respect, man.
Lilith Foster and Alison Hamilton, good evening and welcome. Let me go to my screen with Mr. Golden and his policy. Where am I? I want to show you some things first that Andrew put out today. Spare me a second. Am I sharing the right screen? No. Hold on, peeps. I want to make sure I'm sharing the right screen. Yes, thank you. The Prime Minister, I honestly thought these were his manifesto when I see them out today, but this was just the Prime Minister telling us brouhaha about how well he will be doing or has done. St. Mary, a new 5, what, hey, me said sometime when they say, how they can draw them figure you out of thin air and they say we country, bro. Me not understand them something. Them hope of billions and millions and something, yeah, you know, when you're still broke. Me really not understand. But St. James, a new $580 million fire station was opened in Montego Bay, St. James. Montego Bay Fire Boot Station in St. James opened where two fire units and a fireboat were handed over. Those of you who live in Jamaica, if you go so, will know about it. St. Mary, a new $258 million fire station opened in Port Maria, St. Mary. 70 million spent on the upgrading of the Anato Bay fire station in St. Mary. If you not hold on something not done yet, what to you? St. Thomas, a new $162 million fire station was opened in Yala, St. Thomas. St. Catherine, a new $58 million fire station was opened in Old Harbor, St. Catherine. St. Elizabeth, a 70 million spent on the renovation of the Black River fire station in St. Elizabeth. Myrna, make case and tell me if something goes up with you. You know, them lion wicked. Westmoreland, a standby generator was installed at the Sablamar fire station in Westmoreland. Clarendon, a 10,000 liter, a 10,000 liter water tender was secured to increase the capacity of the Maypen fire station in Clarendon, along with a dignity of use. What? Of use of rescue operation during time of flood. A dignity. What that I don't know. Me dunce, sorry. And he's saying, yeah, these are the things we put up with it. But we don't have to fact check. We don't have to help with fact check Andrew Holness underground. Because then we just come up with it and make it up. So now I'm going to DIE the jerk world, manners and respect, bro. Patricia Matthews, good evening, good evening. Arlene Forrest. Foster, sorry. Arlene Foster, good evening and welcome. Good evening, good evening. I try to have it as much up on the screen as possible for you. So when the dunce make the mistake, when you can see for yourself, so me dunce like the rest of them will support the Labour Party. Right. Right, God help my eyes now. No, me can't. Read it better for you, so because hold on, peeps. Because on everything my eye work properly with. Okay. The People's National Party has constantly recognized the pivotal role of local government as the catalyst for the... No, I can't read it on the computer, so sorry, the writing too stretch. Let me try another method. I'll try to read from my iPod. Oh, poor me. When you get old, I said go with your eyes. Take time with me. Take time with the aged. Hang on. What am I in? No, not you. You over here. Right. Mr. Golden says. Mr. Golden says. Hold on, thingy. I'm sorry, I've been reading all day. My eyes are already clouded. The People's National Party has constantly recognized the pivotal role of local government as the catalyst for genuine national development and progress. In 1989, upon returning to office, the People's National Party initiated a comprehensive local government reform process, addressing the detrimental effects of the JLP administration and restoring various functions to local authority. The local government reform process yielding significant success, including the establishment of a city municipality, that word in Portmore, and the direct election of its mayor in 2003. Notable achievement up to 2007, including the creation of the parochial revenue fund for the autonomous funding of parish council, integrating parish councils in disaster mitigation effort, and the establishment of the community development fund and the parish development committee to promote participatory democracy at local level. In 2015, we passed the constitutional amended Local Government Act, which mandates, let me change the slide so I don't keep following me. Sorry. In 2015, we passed the amended Local Government Act, which mandates in the Constitution that there shall be a democratic system of local government for Jamaica for the first time at least. In 2016, we passed 3 strategic laws that modernize architecture of local government in Jamaica. The Local Government Act that established a comprehensive system of governance for municipal corporation, including fixed 4-year cycle for local government elections. The Local Government Financing and Financial Management Act that brought a modern system of financial accountability to local government. The Local Government Unified Service of Employment Act that introduced a modern system of human resources management at the local level. We advocate for local government because we believe that participatory democracy shall be firmly grounded in community involvement and decision-making at the local level, within a robust framework of accountability, with the objective of ensuring a better quality of life for both individuals and communities. Participatory democracy involves a distinctive form of representation that actively listen and respond to the people, prioritizing service delivery to enhance community well-being and strive to generate economic and social opportunities in collaborating with the people. We're moving on. Community development and citizen security. The People's National Party has always been committed to a holistic and transformative approach to building communities through local government policies and programs. When elected, our commitment is to nurture an inclusive social environment, prioritizing citizens' safety and fostering national pride for the holistic development of every Jamaican. Treating crime and violence as a public health issue and thus implementing broad-based stakeholder initiative to effectively address it, including the revitalization of Unite for Change initiative, the multifaceted approach of citizen security will target antisocial behavior and violent crime at the local level. Establishing parish safety council in the municipalities, comprising police division, commanders, churches, SDCs, principals, chamber of commerce, service club, and community organizations. Creating structures within relevant state agencies to strengthen the purpose, the response to antisocial behavior in communities and school, and deepening the use of restorative justice and providing conflict interruption and resolution training. That is something that would be welcome to the state of our school and community at the moment, but let's see the delivery should they come to local government. Continuing on rather. Providing increasing support through the Social Development Commission to strengthen the legitimate community organization, including Citizens Association, Police Youth Club, and Neighborhood Watch. Empowering CDCs and PDC to support their enhanced effectiveness and relevance at the local level. Expanding the Jamaica Eye infrastructure to cover strategic points across local communities. Renewing the development of community space for sports and recreation. Through this initiative, the People's National Party aimed to create safer, more vibrant, and resilient, not resilient, Mr. Steve Graham from the Old Harbor. It's not resilient, it's resilient. The vibrant and resilient communities that foster the overall well-being of the Jamaican society. Let's move on. Healthy citizens, healthy community. Healthy citizens, healthy community. Let me see if you now cuss me in the chat, because I'm on a total different page. But Jamaican Carlos there? Who come new? Even Carlos, if you're there. Dean Weston, good evening and welcome. Good evening and welcome. Thank you for joining us. Good evening and welcome. VM, good evening and welcome. Thank you. Carlos, wagwan, Carlos. May they make sure read right through backside me tap. Hold on. Remember say I saw with it. But copy taking. Nesta Morgan was on Cliff Hughes at 5 or Nationwide at 5, whichever one of the 5 it be. This was what Nesta Morgan says in relation to the JLP manifesto.
Robert Morgan says his party's manifesto will be made available to the public on Saturday, 2 days before the local government election.
The manifesto will be published on Saturday morning online. One of the most important aspects of the manifesto is the whole issue of public local government reform. There's been a lot of conversations in the debates about local government reform. Our government has sat down and they have made some decisions about not just the regulatory aspect of local government reform, but also looking at building approval, the transparency associated with building approval, and also the impact that building approval and development has on communities, and take into consideration concerns by numerous civil society groups about how the development of our towns and cities is taking place, but also looking at massive investment into rural water supply. We have the road investment with the Spark program, but in the manifesto you're going to have an outlay of a significant investment in rural water supply.
Mr. Morgan says the manifesto is not the only document highlighting the JLP's achievements and plans for Jamaica's future.
Throughout this campaign, there has been numerous documents, advertisements, statements by ministers and the Prime Minister about the plans, programs and policies that we're going to be pushing forward. So another document called our achievement document, which we had out there last week. The manifesto is not the be-all and end-all of our campaign. We have a campaign strategy. We have a plan as to how we manage our campaign, and that is what we're executing.
Robert Morgan, chairman of the JLP's Public Relations Committee.
Either them run out of life to tell, or them a wait for copy out of somebody book, or for the manifesto is just word of mouth. Anyway, let's continue to examine. Let's continue familiarizing ourselves with Mr. Golden's manifesto, with the People's National Party manifesto for their local government bidding. And Ramsey, good evening and welcome. Let's continue to look at what Mark Golden is saying about the People's National Party is saying about healthy citizens, healthy community. The People's National Party recognizes the intrinsic connection between individual well-being and economic prosperity. So healthcare initiative must start local. Therefore, there must be a specific focus on addressing vital community level concern, including health and wellness, with the objective of nurturing a healthy citizenry and more resilient, I repeat, resilient community. Reinstating the public board of health within the operational responsibility of the municipal corporations. Implementing comprehensive health education program at the community level to promote preventative and healthy lifestyle, to promote preventative care and healthy lifestyle. Collaborating with local business and organization to facilitate wellness programs and initiatives within communities. Promoting the availability of more affordable and nutritious food options through community partnership and support for local agriculture. Let's move on. No, wrong slide. Continuing on. about the healthy citizens and healthy community. Expanding mental health service at the community level, recognizing the importance of holistic well-being. This would be something well needed and welcome at the local level, because right across Jamaica there's a huge shortage in mental health care island wide. But when things like these happen at the local level, and the nearest you have is Ward 21 and Bellevue, so there needs to be a more integrated mental health care into the whole healthcare system nationwide. If they can implement that, that would be a welcome health beneficiary nationwide. If they can implement these things locally. I want me there. Incorporating advantage medical and public health technologies to address issues related to rodents and pathogens. So that is the whole pest control fighting. Like how Labour have some big man rat a run after we and a ton up a tear pan we because of their lack of garbage collection and how them cheat with garbage collection over the years. Fostering community engagement in healthcare decision making through town hall meetings and participatory forum to hear from residents the issues they wish to be addressed. Let's move on. Where we're moving to now. Access and accountability. Let me take it to the slide. Access and accountability. Every Jamaican should be guaranteed equitable access to the economic and social services that are sponsored by the state. The People's National Party remains dedicated to realizing an inclusive society which every member, including those with disabilities, can pursue their goals without unnecessary obstacle, like such that Lambert Brown was talking about the other day, of how much the government has violated its own law by not adhering to the rules and regulation of the Disability Act and make sure they have put in place the necessary retrofitting that needs to make buildings, public buildings and commercial buildings, more accessible to people with disabilities. Under the People's National Party, local authority will take the lead in constructing purpose-built infrastructure, deploying widespread technologies, and ensuring effective oversight and maintenance of public infrastructures and amenities such as roads, bridge, portable water access, street lighting, internet and broadband connectivity, along with specialized training and higher education opportunity. PMP gives you access, they said. The People's National Party commitment to access extended, the People's National Party commitment to access extend beyond service to encompass a robust framework for accountability in local government. Recognizing the importance of transparency and responsibility, the People's National Party emphasizes effective oversight, ensuring that local authorities are accountable for the utilization of resources and delivery of services, the PNP will. Mandate quarterly press release by all mayors and CEO to update citizens and councils to update citizens and councils activities and publicize representation for the maintenance of repair of roads, drain, verges, garbage collection, and public cleansing activities. It's all well said and done, where we know a lot of rules and regulation are there for accountability. But the money them still are go missing. And we not hear who take them. We won't go hear how much they take. So it's all well and good speaking about putting these things in place to safeguard and to improve. The truth is, though, that a lot of these systems in place have failed miserably. To the point where at central government and at local government, billions and trillions have gone missing. 1.7 trillion from central government. About 100 and odd million from local government is unaccounted for. So even when the systems are there, corrupt people know how to work around airtight system. Where was I now? We're still on access. Require municipal corporations to become more transparent, publishing their annual budget in print, electronic, and on social media. What a bangarang. And what I hope a cook in a book, I go on. If them have to go, publish them budget to it annually. And Pamela Monroe Ellis can't get it. If Pamela Monroe Ellis, you're going to have to go come on Facebook. You're going to have to come on Facebook, Pamela Monroe Ellis. Because they say, I made this so you get access to those documents of accountability and transparency because you're not having luck. You're really not having luck at the moment. You're not having luck at the moment. So you might just have to wait, Miss Ellis, until it comes on Facebook. So all that we can see together with you. All the dunce like me, we wouldn't understand a thing with the panic once it talk about number. You're going to have to go wait, Miss Ellis, until it comes on Facebook. I will with you again. What if it tell on social media, right? Develop and publish performance management indicator for the councils. Then look here. Mayor Max, Steve Grier, Dion Hunter, the lady there over Portmore. I hope them people are going to produce them something, yeah? Or I wonder if them labor one day, them labor done them. I go still because say, if the labor done them, did it? I what about them member, them mayor and councillor have the secretary in the municipal. So that saves the bell. Somebody with it, pitch it up and patch it up for them. But if you were going to depend on Mayor Mats, Jesus Christ. Why? Remember when Mayor Mats said, I'm going to break it down to cliff? So you get Wasara? Let me continue. mandate the cooperation and timely responsiveness of key associated partners in the delivery of local services, such as the OUR, the NWC, and the JPS and Co., and all them other local service delivery people. Implementing a transparent process of allocating street lighting with deeper expansion into solar lighting for lighting public areas. Consolidate all scheme roads under municipal corporation, thereby placing local authorities in charge of the maintenance of local roads in communities. Modernize minor water supply system by partnering with communities to build water harvesting system and empower municipal corporation using available technologies to improve water availability, to develop local water supply systems such as springs, river, and tanks to alleviate water scarcity in communities. Jamaica don't really have a water scarcity because we have whole heap of river. We have a distribution problem, a regulation and distribution problem. The amount of rivers, spring, and all sort we have, all if we in a year a drought, we should still be able to regulate water from all these spring and rivers that we have flowing through the country. Improve the internal road network to enhance the quality of lifestyle of citizens and bring the benefit of Jamaican tourism industry to local communities. So I must have with the bad road them and the chaka dirt lane them are prevent tourists from come spend their money in the local economy. When them have better road and better access, then that will bring more life to the economy of the local communities, and the local communities can able to tap into the tourist dollar. Oh, let me there again. Okay. Enforce the Building Act to ensure old and new buildings are accessible to persons with disabilities, which all of this should have been put in place under the Disability Act that was passed. Was it 2015 or 2016? Because I would have to look back at my notes. But however, 2014, and there was a promulgation period up to 2022, and from 2022 to this year February, all these accessibility were meant to be put in place by this current government. That was what Melbourne Lambert Brown was referring to in that article I read the other morning. The government has broken its own rules because all government buildings, and this is why I said the floodgate for lawsuit under the Disability Act should really be unleashed on this government. If you have a child that has a disability, if you know of a school that a child is attending with a disability and the retrofitting adaptation is not there, then somebody should start a lawsuit because the government is in violation of its own rule. The government must. It is something that they must do. And we must be careful of Andrew Holness going into Parliament and repealing the Disability Act to take away the responsibility from him, because I know say Andrew Holness or somebody will like take responsibility accountability and throw under a bus and have it trampled. When the PNP forms government, we will ensure that the Jamaican people have access to beaches and rivers for recreational purpose, amending the Beach Control Act to provide rights of access. In the meantime, the municipal corporation controlled by the People's National Party will prioritize maintaining and the facilities at the beaches under their control in a decent condition for the use and comfort of the public. Now, amending the Beach Control Act to give us access, to give us the public, us Jamaicans, access to our public beaches. That is something that is well overdue, well needed, and would be welcome. It would be welcome because it is something which is holding the creativity of Jamaicans back. It is also holding back the orange economy of Jamaicans within the tourism sector. So that would be something welcome if a People's National Party government can put that in place. Now, let's look at what the People's National Party says for their new vision for local government. The People's National Party has always had an irrevocable commitment to local government. That is why we initiated the local government reform process in 1993, enshrining a democratic system of local government in the Constitution in 2015, and passed strategic law in 2016 to guide us into a new era. Over the last 8 years, nothing has been done to make the modernized framework effective by implementing accompanying regulations to create the way and means for implementation of new laws. What the People's National Party is saying, even those that were meant to be put in place, the government just look aside from them and no update to them, no proper operations of them. There has also been a failure of the present administration to carry out the mandatory 4-year review required by the Local Government Act of 2015. A new People's National Party will remedy these failures, which is necessary for our new vision of local government and to take the system of local government to a new level. We will go further by entrenching fixed election date for local government in the Constitution. The Jamaica Labour Party has promised us that 8 years ago, to no avail. So that the anti-democratic abuse of the annual legislative amendment to extend the local government cannot be repeated. So what Mount Golden is saying here, a Mount Golden government is going to make sure, it's only a pity that he never says in the first 100 days, but the Mount Golden administration is going to make sure a constitutionally fixed set term date for local government. Therefore, because it is a constitutionally set date, then Andrew Holness or another JLP regime cannot come on and keep postponing the election because it is politically beneficial to them. Come hell or high water, they will have to work with the constitutional date. Otherwise, they're in great violation. The People's National Party believes that involving citizens, their organization, and civil societies will combine to create a new paradigm to participatory democracy at the local level, entrench fixed election date for local government in the Constitution, and promote additional city municipalities and town municipalities under the Local Government Act. Let's move on. I hope me not bore, but it will go vote on. That's what the people are going to vote on. So I'm hoping that the people are listening. If you don't have time to read it for yourself, at least somebody there when I don't like the labor them, I read it for you. Imagine me the dunce like me, Mats. God help all of us. Right. Enact legislation for the direct election of mayor across municipal corporation, as we successfully piloted in the city of Portmore. Promulgate regulation for the Local Government Act of 2016 and conduct a full review of the act. This should have already been done in 2020 and again in 2024. So what is saying, this act, the promulgated regulation, means putting the act into practice, really. Put it into practice in law, because you can write the bill, make it into law, and have it on the books. But putting the law in operation is a total different thing. So that's the promulgate. I don't know, not every word we can call. Period. That should have been done in 2020 and a review this year. Same thing as well. That should have happened to the Disability Act. There was a promulgation period from 2015 to 2022. And then the operational period where they have 2 years after the promulgation period to put things in place to make sure that when February 2024 comes, they are complying with the Disability Act. Not even Garden House is complying yet. So imagine an audit is done nationally. Imagine an audit is done nationally on public and commercial building. How much people can get in with wheelchair? Just ask him. Establish a new legislative framework allowing prospective municipal corporation to identify funding source and utilize 100% of the fund for improving service within the local community. Over time, and in keeping with the fiscal rules growth and contribution from the national budget, targeting a minimum of 2% to municipal corporation as a dedicated source of funding for a better service delivery. So what they're saying here, they'll make sure they will lobby for a 2% of the national budget to be distributed to local government, so local government can have more money to do the needed work in their communities and respond effectively to the things that they need to respond to in their community. But then again, if they get it, then I go thief officer and tell we say, them never remember saying that them pocket and them jump in a sea and it wet up in a sea or it wash out. Something of this sort. Empowering municipal corporation to provide service at higher standard, focusing on garbage collection, community road maintenance, car parks, public parks, drain cleaning, and public health. Replace or amend / modernize the parochial market law of 1874. So this law that our parochial markets operate under has been in force 100 years since I was before I was born. And now I'm here 50 years short of some months. 150-year legislation. You ever wonder why we're so backward and kukudu lolly? You mean of all this time after successive governments and successive administration? You mean that we couldn't, sorry people, make I take a sip of my water. You mean to say we couldn't amend Massa Old Bangarang from 150 years ago? No, they have more time to sit down there and thief. From 150 years ago. Replace or amend / modernize the parochial market law of 1874 and implement a single road authority act. Require a professional development program of maintenance and rehabilitation through the Enhancement Parochial Revenue Fund. Right, let's continue to move on and see what else. Right. Garbage collection, disposal, and environmental protection. Effective garbage collection and management are crucial for safeguarding citizens' health and preserving our environment. The People's National Party is dedicated to implementing a sustainable waste disposal solution that ensures timely and efficient collection, while also capitalizing on the economic opportunity for national development. Don't ask me what that means. I'm not an economist, so I wouldn't understand. In pursuit of this goal, the next People's National Party government will return solid waste collection and disposal to local authorities, requiring the National Solid Waste Management Authority to concentrate on regulatory and effective enforcement. This strategic move deepen democratic accountability by ensuring elected local representatives are directly responsible to the citizens for effective garbage collection. Continuing on, hold on. Oops, there's a. Returning the responsibility of solid waste management to the local authorities is an important element of our strategy to fix the continued deterioration of garbage collection. The National Solid Waste Management Authority will be reverted to its core function as a regulator of the solid waste service and enforcer of solid waste disposal laws. So just like how NEPA did responsible for building regulation under Tiffin Monday. So the National Solid Waste Management of them are going to have the law enforcement and regulatory duty of them are going to make the laws, the regulations and policies with regards to garbage collection and the whole solid waste management thingy. And anyone is in violation, those are the people who have the power to enforce penalty on you or take prosecution against you. Amend the National Solid Waste Management Act to operate to separate operation from regulation. What that means is they're going to amend this act to make sure the regulator and the operator are two different sets of people. So therefore, you're going to have the regulatory team, which are them one will sit down behind the computer, joke pen and then something there. And the operational team is those who are out in the field making sure the policy where you put down on paper, joke on computer, keyboard, give me out a road and make sure say all of that is put in place and the work is being done, the people work is being done. So they're separating the two so they don't tangle up then one another. So that one you know say you fi make the rules, and that one you know say you get the job done. Municipal corporation will advocate strongly for improvement, including recycling, by exploring partnership with NGO and private sector and international development partners. Launch public education initiative on garbage separation and sorting at the whole house and commercial level. So then basically I say on if separate on garbage, on if put cans and bottles and plastic in a separate container, and if put whole house garbage in a separate galangin. So the mucky things them we turn smelly after a time, them separate from on cans and buckle them. And them say them I go teach you know. Hold on there. Economic model for success and entertainment regulation. I think some little interesting things are in this patch. Let me see. I hope me not bored. Am I boring you all? Am I being bored? Am I making you all feel bored? Right, let's continue on with the community enterprise. Right, community models for success and entertainment regulations. Community enterprise and the development of the MSME sector form an important pillar of the People's National Party economic policy. We believe that for Jamaicans to bolster its GDP, the government must proactively catalyze the economy within the local communities. Our vision is to stimulate inclusive economic growth by unleashing the creative economic energy of our people at the local level. The entertainment subsector for the creative industry, driven by community social activity, serve as a source of income, in communities. The People's National Party the People's National Party is committed to simplifying the making of laws governing the entertainment sector, user-friendly, transparent, and accessible, with a one-stop shop for event approval and an elimination of the use of permit to victimize communities. So basically what them a say them a go make the license approval for these function more of a nuanced thing where the person you can victimize and say you're labor, so you're not going to get the permit, or you're PNP, so you're not going to get the permit, is applying because you're a Jamaican and not because you're of a political party. A digital platform will be implemented for issuance of permit, facilitating better planning and execution of entertainment venue. Establish community enterprise zone to stimulate investment and fortify economic activities within communities and deepen economic linkage across the economy. Leverage of our people. And at one part as well, they talk about the whole round robin thing. I think it may come up in the next thing. Yes, it's somewhere over here. Bear with me. Empowering local authorities in managing local amenities, parking facilities, bus park, to enhance revenue generation and hold them accountable for their performance. That means the fees were collected in a park, car park, bus park, and them something there. It will be a source of it's a source of revenue. A long time them I do it anyway. It's a source of revenue for local government, but more time them thief it rather than spend it back with you. Introduce new regulation to address street food, vending, barbering, cosmetologists, etc., fostering a conducive and safe environment for those vibrant local economic activities. So that means that they're going to make sure proper space there where these people can carry out them activity rather than pan roadside causing chaos and cause them and the police in a bang around. Review the place of amusement regulation of 1899. This is another old piece of law again. And the Spirit License Act of 1928. I think that needs updating probably as well, to establish a transparent process. To establish a transparent process and remove the arbitrariness, ensuring fair treatment to enhance opportunity within the entertainment industry. Yeah, them two pieces of old law they need to look at. 1899 and 1928. 1928 law can still be good, but with society developing and modernizing, it's always, especially in the entertainment industry and the changing of time, it was needed to review these two pieces of legislation a long time anyway. So I wonder why successful governments have just left these colonial legislation. But then again, there's a lot of colonial legislation still in force as they were written. Review vending regulation and ensure dignified treatment of vendors by prescribing space with requisite service and implementing proper zones for market transformation. So basically, I say, I want the market them good enough that the vendors them stay in the market and sell, and the vendor them have toilet and so on, and then I have to go bush like Alice around a hero's circle. Commitment to supporting and transforming local commerce through transforming and development, transforming, sorry, not in, read over fool. Commit to supporting and transforming local commerce through reform and development initiatives for market districts. Implement a development plan for Kingston, which is an inscribed creative city for music. Simplify the procedure for, this is the bit I think might have a bit of interest to some people in the entertainment industry. Simplify the procedure for obtaining permits for parties and other entertainment events to make it user-friendly for promoters, including facilitating a single permit application for a series of round-robin parties. Those of you in Jamaica would know that round-robin, everybody have their own robin. They would have to apply for an individual permit. Now, that whole ring of round robin can apply for one permit for a whole series. So it saved time and money, I would guess, in that industry. Let me read it over. Simplify the procedures for obtaining permit for parties and other entertainment events to make it user-friendly for promoters, including facilitating a single permit application for a series of round-robin parties, rather than each party in the round-robin series having to apply separately for a permit. Overall, we will provide this dignified space that honor and respect vendors, farmers, and consumers, contributing to community well-being and economic growth. And this is what Mr. Golden says at the end of his manifesto, or the People's National Party, rather. On the 26th of February, Mr. Golden and his team is saying, vote People's National Party. Tonight was manifesto night. I have read through for you the manifesto. It is for you to make up your mind and the information given by the People's National Party, their plan for your local communities. Before I wind things down, let me say good evening to those who arrived while I weren't paying attention. Big Boss, see? Big Bossy, good evening and welcome. Good evening, good evening. Good evening and welcome. Pauline Dixon, good evening and welcome. Who else have I seen arrive? You can just imagine how my eye burn me now. Sharon Powell, good evening and welcome. Good evening, good evening. I've been reading all day and my eye bother me. BCA Smith, good evening and welcome. Cynthia B, good evening and welcome. Good evening. Delroy Henry, good evening and welcome. Thank you all for being here with us this evening. Cousin Myrna, good evening and welcome. Yvonne Johnson, good evening and welcome. Thank you all. Stacy, good evening and welcome. Thank you all for being here this evening. We've just gone through the Colin, good evening and welcome. We've just gone through the People's National Party. What's you call it? Ubuntu, good evening and welcome. We've just gone through the People's National Party local government policy for your community. Joan Brown, good evening and welcome. Good evening. Thank you all. If you have arrived late, you can go back. Natalia Freeman, how are you? You can go back to the top and listen throughout. Beat and teach Wagwan, because I've read it all for you. And remember, the Jamaica Labour Party said.
Robert Morgan says his party's manifesto will be made available to the public on Saturday, 2 days before the local government election.
The manifesto will be published on Saturday morning online. One of the most important aspects of the manifesto is the whole issue of public local government reform. There's been a lot of conversations in the debates about local government reform. Our government has sat down and they have made some decisions about not just the regulatory aspect of local government reform, but also looking at building approval, the transparency associated with building approval, and also the impact that building approval and development has on communities, and take into consideration concerns by numerous civil society groups about how the development of our towns and cities is taking place, but also looking at massive investment into rural water supply. We have the road investment with the Spark program, but in the manifesto you're going to have an outlay of a significant investment in rural water supply.
Mr. Morgan says the manifesto is not the only document highlighting the JLP's achievements and plans for Jamaica's future.
Throughout this campaign, there has been numerous documents, advertisements, statements by ministers and the Prime Minister about the plans, programs and policies that we're going to be pushing forward. So another document called our achievement document, which we had out there last week. The manifesto is not the be-all and end-all of our campaign. We have a campaign strategy. We have a plan as to how we manage our campaign, and that is what we're executing.
Robert Morgan, chairman of the JLP's Public Relations Committee.
I'm annoyed by that. The reason why I don't read on Saturdays. Saturday is my lazy day where I am very lazy. I barely move from the bed or from the sofa. It's really my lazy day. And for me now to have to get up and struggle myself through the People's National, the Jamaica Labour Party manifesto, one should ask themselves, what is a government that should be boasting on its record have to hide? Why he's hijacking the nation 2 days before election to vote on promises? Is the government coming with promises that they have horribly failed on? So I cannot tell them so soon in the campaign. I have to hijack them in the dead of night, like I did with the Constitution and the legislative process. Hijack them in the dead of night. Give them honey first. Rub honey at their mouth for 2 weeks. Then 2 days before the poll, I just throw the bitter gall behind the honey. So by the time the bitter gall get down your throat, by the time the bitter gall pass the honey, the horse has already gone through the gate. But in my view, the Prime Minister is feeding us with honey, and then come Saturday morning will be the bitter gall, because all I suspect it to be tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, Jamaica Labour Party. It's a bunch of failed promises that you have made in the past and has ignored and have not developed and have not delivered on. That's the word. If this government have a track record to bolster its campaign, this government would have been shrugging it in our face the very minute it can do so. But it was Andrew Holness that accused Mark Golden as behaving like it's a general election campaign. Listen to him and then listen to Morris of how much Andrew Holness, Minister of National Security, and all of them is coming to Moko because the Moko division is under threat. Is it not Andrew Holness that is using his highways and social housing, which are national government issues, during this local election campaign, then is accusing Mark Golden of having a general election campaign out of desperation?
You hear how my voice sound? It sound raspy. This voice is for the ladies.
Straight. My private is not straight.
So all the man them just listen. But my voice is this way because I have been through the nooks and crannies of Jamaica. Reasoning with the people. And there's a lot of talking. Because there are a lot of issues facing Jamaicans in their communities. This election is a local government election. It is not an election to determine who is the Prime Minister and your member of Parliament. It is an election to determine the representatives who have responsibilities for local, municipal, and infrastructure issues. So municipal issues like your garbage collection and infrastructure issues like your local roads, your parish council roads, and your local water supply. That is what this election is about. Because of political desperation and opportunity, such man has tried to turn this into a national election. I don't know the wisdom in that political calculus, because what it has done is to go and stir up Labour Party answer. Because people realize that they have to come out and support their government. Their government is doing well, they understand that. At the national level, they see the change that has happened, the transformation that has happened. The frustration is not at the national level. The frustration, the pain points, is at the local level. Your road, your water, your garbage collection, your interaction and interface with the transport system, and your interaction and interface with other public services. That is where the frustration is. So I've spent the last 8 years with the team making sure that we have a strong economy. Now we're going to make sure that the economy is a caring economy, an economy that deals with the issues that affect you.
Now, this is a government accepting and telling you that I have failed you at the local level. This is a government saying to you, I have failed you. I'm aware of what your issues are at the local level. But because I was busy dealing with things at the national level, I know the areas I have failed you on. But when Floyd Green, Matthew Smoother, and the one that was in Patrick Bailey House when Jermaine was stabbed 20-odd times, when they said this, they were referring to Portia Simpson's administration. But whose administration would these words be more reflective of?
I truly believe our political system needs some fixing. Too much you hear about corrupt politicians and nothing happen. Too much you hear about politicians who take away poor people money and none of them reach in jail. And to the young people at home or wherever you are, and to all Jamaicans, I have one question for you. Take a look at your communities. Take a look at the sliding dollar. Take a look at the failing healthcare and ask yourselves, where is the progress? Where is the progress that this arrogant and disrespectful government keeps talking about? With this existing callous government, matters have gone from bad to worse.
But maybe the Prime Minister was referring to this.
Blessings and labor rights. I want you to listen to this one good as well. Showers of blessings and our comrade friends as well. to, again, wish showers of blessings on all the people of Buff Bay gathered here today. This is not a meeting stop, as I was reminded by the Minister of Local Government. Your Member of Parliament, Minister Vaz, has done an excellent job in managing this urban center of Buff Bay. I know Buff Bay like the back of my hand. I used to do research work in this area, and I have seen this town slowly develop in an orderly way, and I must commend you and compliment you, the residents of Buff Bay, that you have one of the cleanest towns in Jamaica. And compliment you for the orderliness of the town. It's a small town, it's a little bit choco, but I see that you're making the most of it. And I also see that businesses are doing fairly well. New construction, people renovating. It tells you that this is a prosperity town. Buff Bay, a lovely town. We have some big plans for the entire parish of Portland. When we finish in Port Antonio tonight, you will hear more about it. I want you to join me therefore on our campaign motorcade throughout the parish. Bear in mind that you are the campaign. When people see you, they see the Jamaica Labour Party. You are our representative. Every car load, every bike, every bus, you represent the Jamaica Labour Party. You represent the...
Is it time for us to stop the sort of political motorcade and campaign we're having in our country that is causing loss of life and limb? Is it time for our political campaign to be just centered at town hall meeting rather than a political carnival and a fanfare going across our country that produces violence, intimidation, accidents, and death? But ask yourselves this question: should this Labour Party regime, or does this Labour Party regime have the credibility to come to the nation with all of this behind them?
Thank you, colleagues, members of the media. Thank you for coming. I won't say much on the throne speech, other than to point out that there was very little new in it. Most of what we've heard are things that we've already heard announced. Clearly, they have a very poor track record of delivering on their promises in the throne speech. In prior years, when it comes to legislation, most of the legislation they commit to in a given year is not delivered, and that indeed was the case for the 2023-24 parliamentary year, which is coming to a close, or has just come to a close, where 90% of what they said they would do, they did not do. There was very little in terms of things to look forward to, and some of the things that they have relied on as achievements really need to be scrutinized carefully, because, for example, the unemployment rate of 4.5% is in the context of over 700,000 Jamaicans being outside of the labor force, and therefore not counted in that 4.5% number, of which some 400,000 are adults of working age and are not in work. And this is contributing to the social problems in the society, the worsening poverty, and indeed the crime and violence that has become so prevalent in Jamaica. I'm very concerned on a broader level at the way in which this government has been conducting Parliament. They have done much to reduce the checks and balances that a democracy requires Parliament to play in relation to executive power. For example, we have seen their attempts to defer the tabling of critical reports from the Integrity Commission and the Auditor General. And this continues to be an issue on which there's significant uncertainty. The legal opinion on which the Speaker has relied from the Attorney General's chambers as to her ruling has not been disclosed to parliamentarians, even though she received it in her capacity as the Speaker of Parliament, and it impacts all parliamentarians and they ought to have access to it. We have seen the parliamentary committees not functioning well. The Holness administration in 2020 made a decision to abandon the convention that had been established over the two previous governments, both PNP and JLP governments, by appointing now government-side MPs to chair the sessional committees, most of them. And that is a retrograde step as well, and those committees are not functioning effectively. We have seen the Prime Minister impose a gag on his own cabinet on speaking on issues to do with the Integrity Commission. That is unprecedented and is in the context of the annual report of the Integrity Commission last year, which said that there are 6 MPs who are under investigation for illicit enrichment, a serious corruption charge. And this is a cloud over the government's head, which remains unresolved. Most well-thinking Jamaicans know that they know who those persons are, but they, instead of disclosing that to the public and ensuring that those persons recuse themselves from any activities where they may have a conflict of interest if they're under investigation for illicit enrichment, the response of the Prime Minister is to impose a gag order on his cabinet. And indeed, we're presented with a situation where the head of government in Jamaica has statutory declarations which the body responsible for anti-corruption matters has been unable to certify. Not just 1 year, but more than 1 year of those statutory declarations remain uncertified. No satisfactory reason has been given by the Prime Minister for this. And quite frankly, in any self-respecting democratic system, that should disqualify him from putting himself forward for any renewal of office. We have heard nothing from him of any substance as to why his statutory declarations are not certified. And indeed, we're about to have to file again. We're in the filing period now for the 2023 year. And the cloud remains over the Prime Minister for prior years. It's very unsatisfactory. The other thing I would say, that given that the throne speech was delivered in the context of a local government election campaign, there was nothing in it about a new vision for local government. This government has adopted a situation where all powers to do with the funding of local government vested effectively in the minister, who allocates them as and when he feels fit. This is no way to run a local government system. The councils must be empowered by having their funding provided on a timely basis to execute their mandate. And there are other reforms that are required to make the local government system more effective in delivering services to the people. And when we release our manifesto, you will hear what the People's National Party intends to do when we come to government in relation to making local government more.
Just don't be deceived. That would be my advice to you. Neither by politicians, religious leaders, or those in the entertainment industry who call themselves Rastafarians, who is in bed with the Jamaica Labour Party, who is in bed with capitalism, and in bed with the CIA. Do not be deceived because them have on turban, wrap, or them have on long piece of dirty map on them head. Do not be deceived, because how much have they done to help the poor if they really love the poor?
I love the poor, but I hate poverty. You understand what I mean? So after I have done my soul searching about what I need to do for my country, what was the mission? The mission was to move Jamaicans from poor thinking, poor way of life, move Jamaicans from poverty to prosperity.
Emotions and theatrics. You just cannot beat this prime minister at it. But that was what he said at the Montego Bay Convention Center. But in St. Thomas, he said the economy is going to become a caring economy because they have fixed it at the top. This is where Global TV ends it tonight. We are way past our time. 1 hour and 40 minutes. I don't know me not there so long. Me go to 1 hour and I'm gone. But we had to go to the People's National Party manifesto tonight. And we would have thought that we would have had both manifestos in the same day or within hours of each other. But we will have to wait another so much hours before Minister Flippity Gibbet, who should be providing us the manifesto, but he's rather and the JLP mouthpiece, giving us the manifesto in word of mouth. Thank you very much for being here with us on Global TV tonight. It is great to have your company here with us tonight and Manifesto night. Thanks to all those on the X, on Twitch, on Facebook, and on YouTube. Good evening and welcome. Has anyone joined who I have not? Amoy Vassal, good evening and welcome. Beulah, good evening and welcome. How are you? Shauna Smith, good evening and welcome. Winston Darkins, good evening and welcome. How are you? If you have arrived late, I would suggest you go back to the top and watch, because I have gone through the People's National Party manifesto line by line. If you don't have time to read it for yourself, then you could just listen to me fumbling my way through it. But thank you all very much for being here. And please do meet us back here tomorrow, where we will continue 2024, Jamaica Decide. And do not be confused or deceived by politicians, religious leader, or any Pope Nyamin Rasta. Good night from Global Television. O'Neill Gale, good evening and welcome. Thank you all, and Global TV will